Awesome. Welcome everybody to our icon interview. Our real estate agents here from our Team Freedom group here at eXp Realty, which I'm super blessed to be a part of. Each and every person on here is such an amazing rock star and has such talent. And I'm so blessed to be surrounded by such amazing people. This is what I say one of the beautiful things about eXp is, right? We have this melting pot of top talented people that have come together, and uniquely, none of us on the screen probably would have met each other in a million years if it had not been for eXp. And I believe firmly that me and Dylan were brothers in some other life, at some other point. I say it every time, but I do feel like I have this thing with him that I feel connected to this guy. I'm like, this is my brother from another mother. But eXp has been such a great connector, and I've never had more fun in my entire career. Been doing this for 21 years than I've had in the last 6 with these amazing people. But today is not about me, it's about you guys. Today is an interview with our icons. And for those out there watching who do not know what the definition of an icon is, you should know. You should ask one of us. But ideally, icon is a level of production that you reach here when, one, you're a rock star and a badass, but 2 or 3, I'm all 3, you essentially hit a cap. We have a $16,000 cap here at eXp Realty. Once you hit that and you do an X amount of deals beyond that, which is 20 deals or $500,000 in GCI, one or the other, you earn the title of icon, which means you're a top producer here. And so I would love to share this opportunity with everybody out there watching. First off, because I want to exploit this amazing talent of group people we have at Team Freedom, but also to share with you that anything and everything is possible. Whether you started real estate yesterday or whether you've been in this real estate business for 20 years, it doesn't matter. We have all walks of life on this call with us, and each and every one of these people have reached plateaus of the icon level. So we're going to jump right into this, and everybody is in completely different territories, which is nice too, because geographically speaking, we can always say that different marketplaces are different and people are hindered. They use that as an excuse, but there is no reason for excuses here because marketplace means nothing. You are a talented individual no matter where you're at. So let's start off first in introducing ourselves. We'll start to the left. Actually, my left top corner is Dylan Nonaka. Go for it, my friend. Introduce yourself. Oh, you're on mute, bro. You can all unmute your microphones too. Everybody mute your microphones.
Off mute would help. What's happening, everybody? I'm Dylan Nonaka. I'm based out of the Big Island of Hawaii. I live on the Kona side, running a team there, the agency Team Hawaii. Got a couple of my awesome teammates on the call today, which they'll introduce themselves here shortly. But came to eXp 4 years ago, kind of as an individual agent, small team with my brother, and I've since grown to over 80 agents. We did almost 200 million in volume last year, and the #1 team in the state, and we ended the year as number 20 in the nation with eXp. So it's been amazing rocket ship.
Dude, and to think that we're all linked to this is amazing, right? It's infectious. I love you, brother. Thank you so much. To my right would be Beau Benjamin. Beau.
Yep. Hey, everybody. My name is Beau Benjamin. I'm based out of Indianapolis, Indiana. I've been a full-time realtor since 2017. Have a small team here in Indianapolis, and we did about 9-10 million and 30-40 transactions. So I'm pretty excited about, I've been with eXp for 1 year, and it's been nothing but growth, and I can't wait for the next 4 or 5 years so I can look like Dylan.
You can start by shaving your head, brother. That'd be the first start.
I'll do it.
We're all going to shave our head. It's a thing. It's a thing. If you're watching, it's a thing. Awesome, Beau. Love you, my friend. Thank you so much for being on here too. Such a talented person. Down below him is Ivory. Ivory, the girl of the hour. Go ahead and introduce yourself, my dear.
Chris. Yes. Hi. Aloha. Konnichiwa. It's Ivory. I'm Ivory Kalber. I've been licensed since 2019. Been with eXp just over a year. I am on the Big Island of Hawaii, on the other side of the island from Dylan. He is my rock star broker. And my rock star teammate will introduce herself later. She and I joined him together. And in our first year, we both iconed. So how about that?
How about them apples, right? Look at that. We can just drop the microphone and stop the call now. I think we've just completed our task.
Thank you so
awesome.
much.
I know, right? Ivory, thank you. There we go. Yeah, I'm out. I love it. Thank you, my dear. Love your energy. And in the middle there, Justice Pang. Girl, go for it.
Hey everybody, Justice Pang. I've been in the business 3 years, going on 4 now. I joined with Ivory. I'm on Dylan Nonaka's team, and I'm also on the east side. I hug the Kau and Puna area for my places, and I think it's pretty cool that we iconed our first year at EXP, and I'm only 25 years old. So for those youngins listening, you know, when it's my turn to talk, I'll share a little bit about what it's like being our age in the industry.
We were just having this discussion prior, right? Just summary what kind of level we're at. And I was like, 25, and I got shoes older than you, girl. All right, I love it. Awesome. Justice, welcome. You're amazing. To my left here, Jill Magnuson. Girl, introduce yourself, please.
I'm Jill Magnuson. I have been in real estate longer than Justice has been alive
I
by a couple of years.
love it.
And I'm located in San Diego, California, and we had a small independent brokerage that we moved over in January. And since I moved it over, it's been the best year ever.
Oh, I love it. And you guys are amazing. I love Eric. You guys are an amazing partnership there.
And also iconed her first year at EXP.
Right? Dang, is something going on with that iconing the first year EXP thing? We got to dig into that. All right, down below, last but not least, the amazing Ashliey Wasson. Ashliey, introduce yourself, my dear. She's like, I'm in an Uber right now driving, but go ahead.
I know, guys. I'm so sorry. The flight got delayed going to Maui at Brent Gove's event. If you're at the XP, you know Brent Gove and his events. But I'm on my way to go see you guys. So my name is Ashliey Wasson. I'm on Oahu. I got into real estate when I was 20 years old. This is my 13th year, 3 times icon with EXP Realty. I've been with them for 3 years. And I have started a boutique team, Oahu Lux Homes. We have 6 agents, 3 admin. And I would say on the average, I do 20 to 25 million personally. And my team is, targeting to do the same. Hopefully this year, all independently, because this is a great market that we're coming into for
Absolutely.
agents who understand opportunity.
I love it. Absolutely.
And my niche is investors.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. It's a great collective of people here. Again, we look at this range of experience, right? Jill, 25 more plus years. Dylan, myself, 20 years. And then we got people who've been here for 1 or 2 years. But the reality is everybody's experience is different. Everybody's time in this journey is different. But nonetheless, they all have something in common. And that is what we're going to find out today, because I think everybody at this point in their career in this new marketplace that we're in, and in my opinion, I believe this is an excellent market. If you guys all agree, this is the best market I think we've been in years, because this is finally the market that you can finally attach your business to, that's sustainable, it's realistic, and this is ones that the real people that are working will survive. The ones that have been kind of stuck on this, oh, I had great years. No, it was the market that was great. Nothing against you guys, no disrespect to people out there, but the market was great. So we will talk about some of the struggles and challenges that these guys are doing. And again, the icon level is a status that's reached because you are doing production at a high level. So let's talk about everybody's independent. We have different structures, like Dylan and some of you guys, you have teams. Some of you guys are independent. Let's talk about a couple of things. Dylan, we'll start with you. On the team environment, what does that look like? What is your daily routines? How does that implement your business? How have you used it here at EXP? And has EXP been a focal point or a boost to you in your business, your team environment? Can you touch a little bit about that?
Yeah, the awesome thing about EXP is you have so many different options on what you can do, right? You can join as an individual agent, you can join, as a partnership, you can have a self-organized team, you can have a standard team, and then you can have a mega icon team, which we are. And so at each level, there's different team benefits that the team members get in terms of reduced caps and things like that. I mean, it's a little, it's a separate Zoom to kind of go through all of that, but there's really a vehicle to achieve whatever you want to achieve at whatever level, and then you can level up if you want to going forward. So the highest level team's a mega icon team. Your agents get a quarter cap, and you can really scale this thing. That's the thing about this platform, is that it's really an operating system, right? EXP is an operating system, and you can give the same operating system to 2 different people, and they will have different levels of success based on how they utilize it. And that's really what's cool about it, is everybody has an equal opportunity to take an operating system that really you can go as big as you want to go. I mean, I never thought it would get this big, but I saw other people doing it. And I said, if they can do it, I definitely think I can do it. And that's been the story really. And I'm going to talk here in a couple of hours at the event here about that story and how we got here. But that's the cool thing about it, is whatever you set your mind to, you can definitely achieve it. Whether it's doing individual production at a high level, you can do that. And if you want to create a mega team and, have 100 agents, you can do that too. And there's lots of flexibility to do whatever you want.
Absolutely. And the kicker to explain those are the team environment, honestly, is a very scalable model, right? You're leveraged out at its highest point. As a realtor begins their career, they entangle this opportunity of going and then pretty much it's independent, right? We call ourselves independent contractors for a reason because it is designed around independent. But then when you get to a certain level or plateau of business that quite honestly, you start to lose your mind, you can't really facilitate and handle it at that level, it's time to leverage yourself. And that's where you're at, Dylan and Jill, who actually went and opened her own brokerage. Jill comes from opening a brokerage and running her own company. Jill, let's talk about you. Let's talk about, so we segue into that. You have ran your a company of your own, you owned. And how many agents did you have currently at that point before you came to XP? Your kind of strategy a little bit there with you owned your own brokerage. What did that look like?
Right. So we had a small independent brokerage and we had 20 agents when we decided to move over to EXP. And the small independent brokerages, I think, are kind of going away. The brick and mortars are very expensive to run, and the liability is huge when you have agents, out there running their own businesses with, and you can't, as a broker, you can't have your eyes and ears on every single person at all times. So for us, the decision was made because, number one, the platform at EXP was very inexpensive for us to bring our everything over. We got to keep our logo, all we had to do is put a little EXP next to it. So nothing there has changed. None of our clients even knew what we did. Like, when we saw that we made a difference. And I could offer the agent so much more as far as technology goes. You get the KV core, you get the website, you get all the education alone was worth it, because I, as an independent brokerage, having to come up with all of the training materials and the education myself was really difficult. So I was taking all of my time working on the business rather than making any money.
Right.
So it was, once we learned about EXP, it was a no-brainer for us.
Absolutely. It's a great segue. And now you're in this model, this platform, or this vehicle. Let's say you actually managed to do the production level of an icon again. What, in any way, can you maybe add on that a little bit? Like, what did you do that, like, did EXP offer some different facilities or different pieces of your business that allowed you to get to that level of production as an icon? What would that look like?
Well, what was nice about it is it gave me the opportunity to do what I actually love to do, which is selling houses. I love helping buyers and sellers and reach their financial goals. When I couldn't do that as a broker, I was too busy mentoring agents and helping them succeed. And to be honest, a lot of agents don't do what they have to do to succeed. So it was very frustrating for me. Mm-hmm. So it allowed me to actually go back into sales, also have a team, so I still could do my meetings and I still could do some training, which I really love to do, contract classes, but it allowed me to go back into sales and get into the thick of things with buyers and sellers again. And I made more money this past year than I ever did in my 27 years in the business. And I have to say, I've had more fun than I've had in my 27 years in the business. I felt like I was on a little island by myself as an independent broker. And now I feel like I'm part of this massive team of awesome agents and brokers throughout the world. And there's always somebody for me to collaborate with. And it's just become fun. Like, I'm in Maui at a conference right now. Like, I think this is the second time in 4 months that I've been to Hawaii. Not bad.
For you, darn it. No.
Love it.
So you've taken leverage again to the highest level. And you're right. As a broker owner, you typically are the one that has to honestly monitor, take care of everybody, keep them in line, make sure everything is on the up and up. And you are on the hook for everything over there. So it took you away from the things that you were really ideally doing, which was helping clients and doing that thing and growing your business. And so now moving that into this model, you've been able to really capitalize on that, and which has ultimately helped you get the production done you do now. So you get the best of both worlds. You really do, right? You actually have the ability to grow your organization like you could have in your brokerage model without the headaches, liabilities, overhead costs, expenses, time, overwhelming sensations, right? but growth exponentially. And yeah, it's like I always say, it's the kid without the birth pains. I mean, I'm
Right.
just saying, it's like that, right? It's that. So anyways, congratulations to you. And I love what you bring to the table. And we're so grateful to have you part of our team.
Thanks. Thank you.
Let's move a little bit into your like justice. Again, we're like, these guys have had a lot of years, Dylan and Jill. Let's go into like a little bit of a segue into like where justice is at. You're new, obviously, in this business too, a few years into it. First year at EXP and you Icon. What does your business look like? What is your main driver for your business to kind of let people out that are watching and listening, like, okay, I want to do what Justice is doing. I want to do, what do you have for them? What are you doing? And kind of share with that a little bit.
So I spent a lot of time prior to moving to EXP. Ivory and I spent a lot of time with self-teaching, going on whatever's free on YouTube. Tom Ferry, everything free, I watched it. Okay, I owe him a lot of money. I hope he doesn't see this, but everything free I could get. Ryan Serhant, YouTube, you know, the whole nine. We did a lot of self-teaching. And then once I joined EXP, I was like, whoa, there's all these resources. This is insane. Like, and this is free, you know, it comes with being with the brokerage. So taking advantage of that and made me understand that my clients are going to come from referrals. I do the cold calling and the mailers and all that stuff, but my solid clients, the ones that close deals and convert, is all referrals. And it's tough because people my age aren't usually buying houses. I am really prideful that I did help a lot of people in their 20s buy homes so far, and my goal is to continue to do that. But I did sit down and think, who do I know that would buy a house right now, you know? And then little did I know, like everybody wants to buy a house. So, you know, being kind and talking to people who aren't going to buy the home themselves, but they're going to talk to you, love you, and share their experience with you to everyone else has brought me just a ton of referrals. And I think without that, I wouldn't have come anything close to iconing. So it's really just my clients and family and friends that I owe everything to.
Of course, that's amazing. And the reality though is you had to take time to build those relationships, right?
Yeah.
So if we go back to that, everybody is so worried about what's the next big thing I got to buy, the next big shiny object to make my life easier in real estate. Well, they no longer exist. This is about going back to doing what you're doing, which number one, I want to state this and go back to what you said. You took the initiation in the very beginning to do what? Dig in and do personal development. It was all about learning and sharpening your skills. I'm telling everybody right now, I can't say it enough. This is a market, a skill-based market right now. That's what we're in. This is the ability to really look at some of the areas that you were not maybe shining in before, resharpen those skills and make them great, because you will trump the next person. So I love and appreciate that's what you threw out there. You took the time to dig into yourself, learn, get skilled up, and build those relationships that now will continue. You have a strong, solid foundation, what you have. You have a real strong, solid foundation of real estate business that will always grow. It's never going to not grow. Whereas I think if you look at a lot of the social media and the online lead scenario, there is no relationship there, right? It's kind of that quick in, quick out. You're not building real solid, although it does work. Obviously, it's been proven it works, but the long-term relationships, I think, is solid. So thank you for bringing that up. And I love that.
Absolutely. There's
Awesome.
something about not having to worry about what's coming next. You just have confidence and know that it's there to harvest when it's time, you know? So it's totally worth it.
I love it. I love that. Confidence is key. I love it. Well, thank you for sharing that. And we're grateful to have you part of our team too. Ivory, another person that started out very fresh and new and first year at EXP. Let's talk about a little bit about your business strategies. What are you doing right now? What is your main driver? And how did you get to the level for Icon this year?
So as you can probably tell, Justice and I started in real estate at the exact same time, and we really built this together. It makes me a little emotional. We made best friends, even though I might be old enough to be her mom, just like Jill. She calls me Miss Otis. It's kind of an inside joke. But anyway, you know, so we really did dig in early on before we got to EXP, and we took risks is how I think of it. We tried things out. Justice started doing first-time buyer seminars that she still puts on. I was only involved in one or two of them because I have a bigger life with kids and all that kind of stuff. So I don't have all the Saturdays free, but you know, we dug in and tried different things. And the funny thing is we've been on the same trajectory, but like Dylan said, we've done it completely different ways. And I was really focused on, like Jill, I love being a selling agent. I was very interested in the selling aspect of real estate, of I call like my listings my babies. You know, I go in and I improve them, and I like staging, and I like this stuff, and I like marketing my listings. So I was really focused on that, and that served me really well for the last 3 years. I did do a lot of business in listing, which is, I think, a little bit difficult when you're early on. And I was lucky I grew up here, so I had a nice marriage of drive and go get them. And some people already knew me. So it was a nice combination. And I just followed them through, and I really took it, both Justice and I really dove in quickly and seriously. There's one thing I noticed that a lot of agents and just people in the world are missing, and that's conviction. You know, wanting something and going for it. I find so many people are just like, I don't really know what I want, and I don't really know how I'm going to get there, but I guess I'll take my real estate license. And it's like, I don't think that's going to really get you there. So she and I both just really dove in, and whatever it was that day, sometimes we had no idea what we were doing, but we were still doing real estate, right?
Yeah.
And again, some things were going to fail, but some things stuck. For example, Justice's first time buyers, she still has them monthly, and she fills the room. So again, trying something out that you think might work as a new agent, you'll learn either it sinks or it floats. And those that float, you go with, and those that sink, you move on quickly. So just, you know, really just trying things, and we'll see how this changing market is for me, because I've really relied on word of mouth and people knowing me and people saying, she did a great job selling my house, have her sell your house. And I'm anxious to see where this takes me. I've also, like Ashliey, worked a lot with investors, and those are kind of keeping me afloat. I have a few listings coming up, you know, thanks to them. And so just kind of diversifying, trying different things. And like I said, seeing what sticks and running with it.
I love it. So this whole time I was expecting some methodical magic mystic dust that you're going to sprinkle on us. Like, that's it. That's it, people. There is no magic dust. There is no magic pill. I love the fact that you talk about conviction, because you really do have to have a strong conviction, right? And a strong belief system. But so many people are what we call the wandering generality, right? Aimlessly floating around with no real target. But the truth is, and you guys were honest about it and transparent, you didn't have a real affirmative target in the beginning either, but you just ran with it. You had belief in it. You were convicted that it was going to work. And you just, so that was what pure grit and just follow through. And you're right. Honestly, Ivory, it's really unheard of typically. And Jill, you can attest to this. In your beginnings, in the early on stages, you really aren't a listing agent. That's like everybody wants to be a listing agent because that is the king. Listings are king. They control the market. And you want to be that person that controls it. So more often than not, you're starting off as a buyer's agent or buyer's consultation. That's your league. So kudos to you for jumping into the listing pool right off the bat. So
can I add one more thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
One thing that joining EXP did for me too was when we were getting involved with Dylan in the first place of, are we going to join him or not? I just had heard a little about EXP, and maybe, you know, it kept coming up for me. I'd see the signs, or I'd work a transaction with an EXP agent. So it kind of kept coming up, and I had a feeling that it was going to be something for me. I had a feeling that it was kind of the wave of the future. And that's the kind of person I am. I want to be ahead of that curve. I want to be involved. So once we got involved with it for real, we started learning the nuances, one of which being to icon. I never knew that existed before I started talking about joining, right? I had maybe heard the word cap before, but that was it. So once I heard that there was a level that you could reach beyond capping, again, the conviction in me could not allow me to let that just slide by. I said, I want to be that. Whatever that is, I saw the sign on someone else's, the little icon agent. I wanted to be that. So again, I focused on that, and it wasn't easy at times for me. Justice kind of, you guys, what she's not telling you is she far exceeded the icon number. Just so everyone's clear, I sold 36 units last year. She sold 63. Okay. Isn't that like a correlation between our, like, yeah, I'm 45 and you're something like that. Yeah. Anyway, but I saw that and I wanted it and I went after it and I would not let go until I had it, you know, and in the end I had to kind of enlist the team, like, Dylan, I'm one off, send me a referral, do something.
Yeah.
I need this. I'm freaking out, you know? And he knows the feeling. One of his years, he missed it by 2 transactions. So anyway, it's like, again, that conviction or that goal, setting that goal and not letting anything get in your way. And again, even just becoming a good agent, we had that as a goal and we would do anything to make it happen, whether that's sending out mailers or, you know, I became active on the board, whatever way you take, there's so many avenues to success.
I love it. You know what? You really, that's like a dog on a bone thing theory. I just think that when you're thinking like just relentless, you just have this drive that without a doubt in your mind, you're going to have that. And I love that because that takes heart. You know, it takes heart, it takes tenacity, it takes that skill of just driving and not letting anything, this side white noise and all the stuff that's out there on the sidelines and the benches that are telling you otherwise. And sometimes it's even yourself telling you otherwise. I can't do this. This is not for me. I can't make it. So good for you for both. I mean, I love the fact that you both were on this call because again, I love to hear a lot of people who are the naysayers out there who say, well, I just don't have the time under my belt. I don't have the skills yet. I don't have what he has or she has. No, that's baloney. You guys saw a vision, you went for a target and you were spot on until you got it. And that's what it was. And it was pure work, hard work that you guys made happen. So man, kudos, hats off to both you guys. And it doesn't matter. I think unit-wise, icon's icon, regardless between the two of you guys, amazing stories. And this is something that people need to put in a book and write it and let people read it, because honestly, that's where everybody again is looking for this magic drink, you know, like where's the magic beans and they're selling the cow. It just doesn't make sense. It's just hard work. And it really is that ability to be focused on something. So thank you for sharing that. Ivory, amazing story. Both you guys are amazing. Let's move up to a different territory and different marketplace in the upper north. Is it upper north, Beau? Were you upper north or upper east north? I don't know. I'm map challenged too, just FYI.
Midwest, right in the heart.
Midwest. See, I was close there. I just know California and Florida. Okay, Midwest. So we got Beau Benjamin here. Beau, you have a different marketplace. Obviously, these guys are a lot from Hawaii and Jill's from Southern California. And a lot of people can use the excuse that, you know, my marketplace is hindering me. I don't have that. My price points are lower. In fact, I think on one of our podcasts, when you interviewed you, there was something about that kind of things that you started off with really a lot lower price points. And so you actually probably have to do twice as much work to get to a level of that, right? So tell us a little bit about your business over there and what drives your business, the main driver of your business, and how you reached Icon this year.
Yeah, thank you for having me. So Indianapolis's average market price is between $275 and $300. So yeah, we definitely have to sell a lot to, it takes about 10 homes to get to the cap on average. And then after that, you have to do the 20, but selling, selling the 10 to get to cap, I imagine some of these people from Hawaii don't have to sell but 1 or 2 to cap or whatnot. Get there a lot faster. So that's a fun advantage, but you know, hard work never scared anyone in the Midwest. So we're here to play. But yeah, so my story was, I actually was in IT for 9 years prior, actually 11 years. And I was an investor. I bought single family rentals. I used a realtor friend and I told her eventually I'm going to get my license so I can save the money on my investments. Right. And then fast forward, I was kind of getting to the point where I didn't love the corporate career anymore. And I got my license while I was actually on paternity leave for my daughter's birth. Yeah. Finished the testing and all that stuff, but then you can't be a broker right out of the gate in Indiana. So I had to dock my license somewhere. And while I was interviewing, one of the broker managers just said, have you ever thought about being a realtor full time? And so, yeah, I kind of shocked me, went home, and it was kind of like someone slapping you in the face being like, hey, we're trying to give you a clue here. This is what you love to do. At that point, I was searching investments and doing analysis more than I was doing my actual job. So it was kind of a big hint. So I switched over, just jumped off the cliff with an 18-month-old and a newborn. And I did Icon production right out of the gate through the first 4 years. And then it wasn't until the 4th year where someone about this time last year messaged me and showed me the model. And like they say, once you see it, you can't unsee it. And so it just made too much sense. And I was like, I'm already doing this, except now I just get paid more. And it's hard to figure that out. And it's funny because when you talk to other people, they think you're trying to recruit them. And I'm like, hey, if you want to do the same job for $40,000, $50,000 less, that's fine. I just don't know anyone in corporate America that would be willing to do that. So I don't know what makes the difference as a realtor, right?
Mhm.
So I switched. I made the switch. I just, much like Ivory said, there was no way I wasn't going to hit it. I'd hit it every year prior if you did took my numbers over. And so, grinded until we got to the marker, and I was really ecstatic. It was kind of a moment of just, whenever you switch, I'm a very loyal person. So it wasn't an easy switch for me, because I actually had lunches with the owner of my previous brokerage regularly, like probably once a month or so. So that day telling him I was leaving was not a fun moment. I may or may not have had a tear or two. And it just stunk. And he said, "What can I do?" And I'm like, "You can match this." And he says, "I can't." And that's the truth. No one can. That's the problem with, you can if you stack apples to apples, no one's beating this model. And so he couldn't do it. And I said, the key, I struggled with the decision actually for probably months. And one of the key things, I was listening to a podcast, and the person said, on the podcast, they said, if you're having strife with any decision in life, it's usually because your priorities aren't clear. And I said, "Oh, I'm having a lot of strife." And then I'm like, "Well, what are my priorities?" God, family, everything else, real estate mainly, and everything under that. And I was like, whoa, I'm putting this broker owner above my family. And I was like, my loyalty to him was in combat with my family. But once I realized the priority is to make that extra money to pay for my kids' college, that's kind of what I think of it when I'm thinking I'm going to make 40, 50 extra a year. That's going straight into their college funds. I'm like, this isn't a decision anymore. The priorities are clear. And so that really clarified everything for me, sent me off on the year to get to the Icon, and doing the volume and business it takes to do this isn't difficult for me because I have a 7 and a 5-year-old and a beautiful wife. So it makes the driver pretty easy. But the only other thing I could say is I was lucky enough to be introduced into the Buffini system. I know I do listen to Tom Ferry's podcast too. I like both of them. But Buffini was the first CRM I had. And I told my manager the day I walked in, first I said, "Where is everybody?" Because it was 8 o'clock and no one was there. And that, like many realtors, like to stroll in late, still don't understand that. But I rolled in, I said, "I can execute anything. Tell me how to sell real estate." And she said, "Well, how do you want to do real estate?" I'm like, there's different ways. Yeah, you can call expireds, you can do FSBOs. I was like, "What's a FSBO?" All this stuff. And she finally got to, you can work by referral and call your family and friends. I was like, oh, that's what I thought real estate was. I didn't realize there was other options, but so that rings true with me and my spirit and who I am. And that's all I've been doing ever since. I mean, I feel like if I was given a new person to start real estate, I could teach them the Buffini relationship referral model, and I could get them to the Icon status the first year ever. I could rinse and repeat. If someone's willing to do the work, the models are out there and the things to do are out there. So that's how I'm actually going to grow my team, and as people on board, my goal is to get them to what I can do or better with their relationships.
I love it. Which means you go back to basics, right? Relationships. It's the breaking down of relationships that mean everything. And everybody on this call so far has talked about that. And that was their driver for their business, was establishing a good database of relationships, whether it's Buffini, Ferry, or just doing the good old drop. I mean, anything, right? It could be anything. Craig Parker, doesn't matter. You just got to go do something and be adamant about it. Good job.
Absolutely.
Excited. All right. Last but not least, Ashliey Wasson down below. Are you good there, dear? Kind of drive a little bit. Icon. Tell us a little bit about your business. You mentioned earlier investors, but what is your main driver, and how do you facilitate your level of getting to Icon status yourself?
Yeah, sorry about that. The reception is beautiful. I mean, views are beautiful. Reception is not.
We love it. All right.
The main drivers of my business is investors. And what that means is that I was building a portfolio of repeat and referral business, right? And I like to speak on this a lot too, because people put investors into certain categories. And you do have different types. You have residential, you have commercial, you have fix and flips, you have BRRRRs, you have buy and holds, you have people who house hack. And I just sort of became a jack of all trades and trying to understand the strategy with all of those. And how that came about though is, oh, I work with investors, you know, it's so broad, right? But the truth is that I was a girl living in Hau'ula at 20 years old on an island where I knew no one, and my hair looked like I, you know, lived in the ocean. So how did I do anything? I did not know a soul. And to Justice's point, I was 20. No one I knew, if I did even know anyone, who weren't buying houses. And I lived in Hau'ula. So if you know Oahu at all, that is the country of Oahu. And I was like, well, I don't know how to get business. I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have any training. And the brokerage I was with, her advice was to give one business card a day, and that's how you'll get business. So my first year, I had absolutely no guidance. Escrow was a fish. I was completely blind. And Facebook was the most poppin' social media that you had. YouTube wasn't a thing where you could go out there and get a plethora of, sorry, I can't put my phone on airplane mode because I'm traveling. So there was no YouTube to look things up. I was just shooting fish in a barrel with no idea what to do. And I would, you know, drive, and I would pull over to the side of the house. If I saw a house that looked vacant or someone was in it, I'd be like, hi, I'm Ashliey. I'm a realtor. Are you the owner? Can I help you? What, you know, I was talking to all of my neighbors, and I was just like, I'm a realtor. I sell houses and stuff. Can I help you?
And stuff. I love it.
This is the most embarrassing story, and I've never said this out loud before. So I had no idea what I was doing. And there was this oceanfront house on Kaipapau Loop, and I lived on Kaipapau Loop. And the neighbors expired. They had in a listing that one expired. And so I contacted them, and the neighbor next door, she was an older lady, and she had a book of everyone's information literally in a binder. And so she was like, I will give you the information, but you need to come help me feed my horses. So I would help this lady go feed and brush her horses at the farm. And then I would have to be in the kitchen with her and make baklava. And I was like, can I have their information? And so she eventually gave me the information, and she compiled it by just being nosy. And she was grumpy and nosy, but that's how I got my contacts. And I reached out to them. I listed that house like no one's believed. I was treating it like my own. And then they asked me to rent it for them. I didn't know property management. And they were like, hey, Ashliey, can you give us a statement like of, you know, rents and costs? And I did it on a sticky note when I mailed them the check. And they're like, do you think you can do this in a PDF? And I was like, totally. 20, no guidance. My first broker I had, I sent him the contract. He was, bless his heart, at KW at the time, not the new Honolulu branch. And he's like, don't ever send me a contract again, not completely filled out. I was like, I don't know how to do a contract. So it took a while. And in short, how I got that book of business is I had no ego. I didn't care. I pulled over and I asked everyone relentlessly, can I help you? I don't know what that looks like, but I'll figure it out. And I just gave my time, and I was honest, and I didn't do it for the money. I didn't know what kind of money I would be making. I had no idea. I just loved to serve people, and I loved a challenge. And I came across an investor in an abandoned house. And in hindsight, if you're 20 on the countryside, you probably shouldn't go into houses talking to strangers. For my benefit, he's like, no, I'm interested in a couple others down the street. And I ended up being his slave for 2 years. I worked 365 holidays, New Year's, Christmas. It did not matter. I was this person's slave. And I learned so much in those 2 years. And then I got burnt out. And I used all that information in my later years to help veterans and local families build wealth through real estate. And I have created a plethora of investors since then.
Wow. What an amazing story. I mean, come on. That was like from the depths of the pits, and you came out with baklava. I mean, okay, baklava.
And
like,
I can make a mean baklava
and
now.
you're making baklava. I mean, what, you can't make this stuff up. I mean, people are like, hey, give me some really good stuff. Well, go find an old lady and make her baklava, and she might be able to give you a whole list of names. There's your database. Wow. So again,
Yeah.
amazing story. Thank you for that, because it just again puts things into perspective that people are trying to find this amazing, amazing thing that's just like the best thing next to sliced bread. But really, it's the basic, simple things in life, the relationships that we have, our neighbors down the street, the people around the corner. Who do we need to talk to today? Who do we need to talk to tomorrow? Every day, it's relentlessly making new relationships. So thank you for that story. And we're super also grateful and humbled to have you part of our team. And one day you're going to make some baklava for us for sure. So, all right, let's go. Next.
Scout's honor.
Scott's honor. I love it. So let's jump into a couple more questions as we make this. I don't want to take a, so what are some of the things? Obviously, we're talking about a work-life balance. And I know some of you guys have kids, some of you don't have kids. Beau, you mentioned you have kids, a wife, and a family. Where did this fit in for you guys at all? And how did this work? I mean, obviously work at a high level to be icon status. You're obviously working as realtors. We know you burn the candle at both ends of the stick sometimes. That's how you become successful. How did you guys, and anybody is open to anybody, how did you guys manage that? Anybody have anything specific they use to manage some of that time to balance
I
it out?
do.
Okay, go for it.
Only because I know a lot of the younger agents who might be watching this, like you said, Chris, they're going to start off with buyers, right?
Mhm.
And buyers can run you ragged. Like Ashley said, you're their slave for a while and before they get into a house. So I think that the best thing you can do to make time for your family is make sure whatever hour you're working with real estate, you make the most of that hour. You're not utilizing 45 minutes and then looking at the sky for 15 minutes. The whole 60 minutes, you're doing something and you're moving with purpose. So what I did was when I have buyers, I give them a series of questions to get them pre-qualified. If they don't put in the work to call the lender, they're not serious, that's okay. I'm not going to push anyone to do that. So they go on the back burner. I move on to the next person. If they do get past those series of questions and reach out to a lender and they are qualified, then we go and see homes. And this is something that people say they do, but I know there's a bunch of realtors out there showing buyers homes that aren't pre-qualified. I know for a fact, stop doing it.
No.
You know, because once you stop showing them homes, they're going to call me or they're going to call the next. They don't care about you. But if you hold their hand and guide them and show them, what I've been doing recently since the interest rates are up is I don't show them their budget. I show them what their mortgage payment looks like. And I tell them, do you want to pay $3,200 a month? Oh, I thought it'd be like 26. No. Okay. So we're not going to see these 5 homes. We can see these 2. And that just saved me half a day. We're only looking at 2 homes compared to, you know, seeing the entire Ainaloa subdivision. So spending your time wisely, I think would be best so that you can have more time with your family. You know, I did a few of those where I'm showing houses all day. I get home at like 7 and I'm like burnt out. And I'm like, wait, they can't even write an offer right now, even if they wanted to. What did I just do today?
Yeah.
You know, and I'm grouchy and then I can't, you know, spend time with my husband. And we have my nephew with us too. He's 14 or he's 15 now. So I'm not doing that anymore. And I think any new agents, even though you don't have a lot of knowledge to give, you can get that knowledge. Treat yourself like an owner of your business, you know, and you're valuable. So try not to be a slave if at all possible, even though we have to sometimes.
Yeah, I love it.
I
Time
want to
management. Go for it,
want to piggyback that because what Justice is talking about is scarcity versus abundance mindset. If you're showing someone a house that's not pre-qualified, you're scared that you're going to lose them and you're not going to have a customer. But if you're alive long enough, longer than Justice, you will learn that if you close a door that shouldn't be open, another one will open always. But if you don't, if you chase that door, that person, then that bigger opportunity won't open because you're not making room for it. You have to make room for the bigger opportunity. So that's huge. And then some other tips for me is use the term appointment. So unfortunately, our society today doesn't respect family and values as much as it used to. So rather than saying, oh, I have to go coach my kid's game, or I have to go do that or this, which sometimes they'll give you a look at, it's like, wait, I'm a customer, I'm your customer, I'm so important. And yeah, your family's important, but I'm kind of more important is how we think today, which is kind of gross, but that's another call. But the truth is, the moment you change your terminology to, oh, I have an appointment from 6 to 7 today, can we do it at another time? Then they're like, oh yeah. So they'll respect other customers before they'll respect your family. But the key is that you use the term appointment. And then the second thing I did to kind of reinforce that is I go in and I have calendar blocking to the max. Dylan might beat me because I know he's crazy, but every inch of my calendar is color coded and mapped out, calendar blocked. And I put in family appointments. And it used to just say like time with family, but when I use the term family appointment, when I look at my phone to see if I'm available, then it's so easy for my brain to say, oh no, I have an appointment. And I don't even have to worry about transitioning or switching that term in my head. I just read it right from my phone. I have an appointment at that time. I can't do that. Can we do it the next time? And no one ever says, I mean, I've never gotten pushback because they're like, oh, okay, yeah, the next available time is this. We'll try then. And it's just, you have to have the abundance mindset and know if they self-select out, something better's coming for you.
I love it. I love it. The right terminology, right, sets the tone for everything and expectations for sure. Awesome. So what are a couple of things then too, Ivory, you have some real quick?
Well, just mind blown is all I'm going to say, because I'm going to start using the word appointment for sure. That's amazing. And just on the flip side of it, I would urge anyone in their first couple of years to make real estate your first priority. For me, I mean, that's what worked for me is I did kind of put everything else aside for those first 2 years or maybe 3 to become the icon, right? And then now I am learning ways, thanks to my amazing broker Dylan and others, to delegate. So we have newer agents in our in our brokerage that should be, or hopefully are as hungry as I was in my first year. And Justice and I would have done anything. We would run to the other side of the island for a showing at 7 o'clock on a Sunday. We would do whatever it took. And so luckily you find those that have as much drive, determination, conviction, and you rely on them to do your showings or to do the jobs that they are able to do. And with any luck, you can form some partnerships and form some referral agents, and maybe you co-list on some, and maybe they just do showings for you. And it just becomes, again, it's part of our EXP teamwork model. We're all in this together and we're here to help each other. So I would say to anyone new, plan on diving in deep for these first couple of years, get that groundwork going, and you'll be amazed how you can alleviate a lot of your time. And I have a lot of free appointment time now with my family that is a lot better. You know, it's just, I was nose to the grindstone for a good 3 years, I would say, but now it's opening up. So if you can do that for 3 years, and then you can be in this industry for 26 more, like Jill and Chris, then what is 3 years compared to, you know?
You're laying the groundwork, right? Lay the groundwork now, do the hard work now, and it's easier later on. Awesome. Thanks. Ashliey, you got something?
Yeah, I would say that my biggest, I think, trajectory, and I think it depends on what phase in real estate you're in, because some of you guys can get this in year 1 as well, was hire a VA at minimum. You can't afford not to. And I wish that I had known that when I first started. The moment that you're hitting a cap at EXP or a half cap, you should be looking at hiring a VA, because it takes about 6 months or so to get them really operational. And once you're like, I can't afford it. And then when you do it, you're like, how did I ever have that mentality? That just freed up so much time. And then before you know it, you're hiring a second and then a third. One's doing your calls and setting up your database. One's doing, I mean, mine could steal my identity tomorrow and go run off with it. She does so much for me.
I saw it actually on social media the other day. It was the Ashliey Part 2.0. I was like, who is that?
She'd be the better version. She's more collected than I am. But my best piece of advice to be the most productive is hire a VA right now. If you kind of even teetering, if you should, because you should.
I love it.
Chris,
Thanks for that advice.
I gotta piggyback that too. You guys are all awesome, and I'm just stealing your thunder. But the thing that she's talking about is another way of saying you have to know your dollar per hour worth. And so if you're planning on making $500,000 an hour, it's easy just to do the math. It's 2,020 hours a year, divide by 2 effectively. That's $250 an hour is what you're worth if you're going to make 500,000. If you're doing something that you could pay someone $10 an hour, you're literally causing yourself to lose $240 every hour that you do that task. And if you think of it that way, you'll stop doing it very quick.
Wow, that's a pinch to the neck. Good thing I don't know how to add. Thanks, Beau. But now that I do, I'm like, dang it, can't go do that no more. Makes sense though. It's mathematical, right? You got to find your value spot and where it's the most valuable time. Jill and Dylan, you guys are obviously at an event for Brent right now, and you guys are implementing something at Maui. What are you guys doing this year for 2023 that you maybe are implementing? Maybe reading books, going to seminars. I mean, obviously you're attending a seminar right now, but what do you guys have for the forecast for this year that always continue on, right? What's the next step for you guys this year for 2023? Who wants to go?
I'll go first.
Okay.
So we joined a mastermind, and it's not just with realtors, it's really high-end entrepreneurs throughout the country. So we're connecting with people who own billion-dollar corporations, and it's a very small mastermind, so you really get to know the people very well. And like, we were just actually right before we came to Maui, we were in Atlanta at one of these masterminds, and we were talking to a gentleman named Vic Keller, who said that he's going to be purchasing a property soon, another property in Maui. So we're going to help him out with that. And so just those kind of connections are priceless. So they cost, well, it costs a lot of money to join these masterminds, but it's so worth it. And so get in rooms where there are people that are smarter than you, and they're always willing to help you. So, in real estate, I've been in the industry for so many years. I feel like in rooms like that, I can help other people who don't know much about real estate, and they can help me with their with what they're doing. So that's what we plan on doing.
I love it. And that's the growth right there. The growth trajectory really is to kind of find the next step that you need to climb on that ladder, and you're doing it. You and Eric both. So I applaud you guys for that. It's massive growth. What about you, Dylan? What do you got going on this year for 2023?
Expansion, man. It's all about expansion. And a key piece to that is growing new leaders, right? A leader's number one responsibility is to make more leaders. And it's time now where we have the systems in place, we have the processes, we have the operating procedures, and it's time. I've talked about this for a long time with my team. Is I can't live at dad's house forever, right? It's at some point you got to go out and do your own thing, and you got to start building your own teams. And so that's what we're looking to do, is focus a lot on leadership, build some people up to get ready to grow their own operations. And that's the awesome thing about EXP and the model, is that's what you want to do, right? In a traditional real estate model, you want to hold your agents back, because when they get too big for their britches, they leave you, or they start their own brokerage to compete against you. And there's actually an incentive to not let people succeed to their highest and best abilities. And that doesn't exist in EXP, right? You want to bring people into the company, and you want to make them better than you and have them grow an operation twice as big as yours, because you'll always benefit from it. And so it's an ingenious model, but that's the next stage of growth in where we're going. And I wanted to add back to the time thing, right? Number one thing that I hate to hear when people say, well, you ask them, why are you getting into real estate? They're like, oh, I love the flexibility of the schedule. What that means is I don't have to work, right? Like, that's what that means when I interpret that. And when people say like, well, what did you do in the beginning to be successful? I just went to work every day. I worked 8 hours a day. Like, I acted like I had a job, even though I had nothing going on. I went to the office at 8 and I stayed there till 4 or 5 every day. And I practiced. I just did stuff. I read contracts. I made stuff up. I figured stuff out, right? Like, just like Justice Ivory, everybody's talking about. And that's the biggest problem, is people act like having time, having flexibility means I don't have to work. And that's not the case. You have to put in the time. And if you put in the time and you put in the energy, the universe will pay you back. And if you're not putting the time and energy, anytime an agent's having a hard time, I tell them, tell me exactly what you did for the last 5 days. Show me your schedule and what you were doing. And it's like, I went to the beach this day. I got a massage on this day. I went shopping at Costco the next day. And I'm like, you weren't working. So of course you got nothing going on. How can you be surprised about your outcomes, right? So that's a big one, is just put the time in and act like you have a job, because you do.
You do. I love it. You got to put in the time. Otherwise, you're right. Nothing's going to come. It's funny. People talk about the freedom. I love what you said that, because every time I do interview somebody, they talk about, the freedom, flexibility. The freedom ultimately ends up becoming their worst enemy. The freedom is literally killing them at the stake, because they don't have accountability. They don't have discipline. They don't have structure. And these are things that are great qualities in each and every one of you guys in this call. You guys all have that. The structure, the discipline, the drive, the relentless attitude, the ability to want more, and the drive, desire. That's why we're all aligned, right? This is why the universe does what it does. Like attracts like for a reason. And that's why what Team Freedom is about. We have such amazing talent. I love each and every one of you guys, like, unbelievably. But I do want to keep this to an hour, so to kind of honor some time, make sure, obviously. But I do appreciate, I know you guys are at an event, you guys all three, and we have things to do, right? It's time management, so I don't want to take up too much. But I'm so grateful again that you guys took the time and carved out today to sit here, share your story, share some of the things you're doing with the people out there and your successes, because you guys are like icons. And that's a great terminology, right? You're an icon, you're iconic, you're somebody that we look up to. So thank you for being the person you are, because you guys do hold a place in all of our hearts, and I'm grateful for that. So without further ado, again, I look forward to 2023 for everybody's expansive growth and continuation of this. And hopefully everybody continues on that trajectory, right? For Icon 2.0, 3-time icon, 4-time icon, 5-time icon. All right. I always see it. Oh, I'm a so-and-so 7-time icon. Cool. Let's get it. Let's get it. Right. All right. But I love you guys. Keep doing what you do. And I will see you on the upside for sure. All right. You guys have a great day.
Thanks, Chris.
You're welcome.